Hello and welcome back to Horoscope TV. I have to be honest with you. I spent the morning looking over the charts for the week ahead, specifically for our Cancer listeners, and I actually had to put my coffee down.
Oh, I believe it.
It is rare, I mean very rare, that we see a planetary alignment that feels this distinct.
Right.
It's not just a shifting of the winds, it feels like the entire tectonic plate of your life is about to slide a few inches to the right.
It really is. It's good to be here. And you're absolutely right to be startled. We are looking at the forecast for the week of February 9th to February 15th, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Cancer, or if you have strong Cancer placements, sun, moon, rising, this isn't just another week in the calendar.
Not at all.
I was looking at the ephemeris this morning, and the geometry is it's striking. It's a fork in the road.
A fork in the road is exactly what it feels like. But usually, a fork in the road implies a simple choice. Go left or go right. This feels more like...
It's more complicated.
Yeah, much more. It's like the signs say, go climb a mountain or go sail an ocean. We have these two massive conflicting energies present in the chart.
That's the perfect way to put it.
On one side, we have this incredible call to adventure with Venus, this feeling of expansion. And on the other, we have the heavyweight champion of the cosmos, Saturn, demanding serious, heavy responsibility.
That is the core tension of the week. And probably of the next couple of years, really. We often talk about conflicting aspects in astrology, but this is visceral.
Visceral is the word.
You have theme A, which is, like you said, the world opening up.
Right.
That's Venus entering the ninth house. It's light, it's expansive, it's exciting.
That feels good.
It feels really good. But crashing right into that is theme B, the weight of authority. And that is Saturn making a monumental shift into the career sector. And we need to be crystal clear about this. Saturn doesn't just visit. He moves in. He brings luggage.
He unpacks and puts his feet up on the coffee table.
He's remodeling the whole house.
And that's what we are here to analyze today. We're going to look at how a Cancer, the sign of the crab, the sign that loves its shell, its home, its safety, navigates a week where the universe is simultaneously shouting, run free, and sit down and be the boss.
It's a paradox, a complete paradox. And managing that paradox is going to be the key to the next, not just 7 days, but really the next 2 years.
Just 2 years. Okay, so we are zooming out. That's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. This isn't a weather report. It's a climate change event.
Wow. Okay, so let's start with the immediate vibe shift, though. Because before the heavy hammer of Saturn drops later in the week, something lighter happens on February 10th.
Yes.
Venus moves into the ninth house. Now, walk us through this. For a Cancer, who is often stereotyped as the homebody, what does Venus in the ninth house actually do to their psychology?
It's a fantastic question because it challenges that very stereotype.
Yeah.
Yes, Cancer is the archetype of the home, the roots, the mother, the nest, but the ninth house is the house of the explorer.
The complete opposite.
Almost, yes. It's ruled by Sagittarius naturally. So it governs long-distance travel, higher philosophy, foreign cultures, and the higher mind. When Venus, the planet of what we love, what we value, what brings us pleasure, enters this sector, it creates a sudden, almost uncomfortable itch.
An itch to leave. Is it that simple?
An itch to expand. That's a better way to put it. It's a sudden claustrophobia regarding your current routine. You might wake up on Tuesday morning, look at your living room, which you usually love. You've curated every pillow and feel like the walls are closing in.
I know that feeling.
The psychological shift is from I want to be safe to I want to see what is over the horizon.
So practically speaking, is this the week our listener is on Skyscanner looking at flights to Bali? Or signing up for a language app?
Absolutely. The impulse to physically move, to cross a border is very, very strong. But we have to look deeper than just tourism. That's the surface level. The ninth house is about mental expansion. It's about the quest for truth. So for some Cancers, this might manifest as a sudden desire to go back to school or to finally enroll in that master's program they've been thinking about.
Or just read a book that's totally out of their comfort zone.
Exactly. Or to learn a difficult language, or to read philosophy that challenges their entire worldview. It's a hunger for something foreign, something that isn't from their world.
That's interesting. It's like the crab is peeking out of the tide pool and realizing there's a whole ocean out there. It's a call to the unknown.
Precisely. And if we didn't have the other major transit happening this week, I would say to every Cancer listening, pack your bags, go have a fling in Italy, enjoy yourself.
Well, there's always a but.
There is a very big but. We have to look at the timeline because just a few days after this beautiful desire for freedom kicks in, on February 14th, we had the headline event.
Valentine's Day. But looking at this chart, This doesn't look like hearts and chocolates. This looks like a final exam or a performance review.
That is a very, very apt description. On February 14th, Saturn enters your career sector. Specifically, it enters the sign of Aries, which, for most cancers, will correspond to the 10th house of public image and career.
The very top of the chart.
Most public part. Now, to understand the gravity of this, we have to talk about Saturn. In ancient astrology, Saturn is Kronos, the god of time. He's the gatekeeper, the taskmaster.
Saturn usually gets such a bad rap, though. People hear Saturn and they think restriction or bad luck or everything's about to get hard. Is that fair?
It's understandable. I get why people feel that way, but it's not entirely fair. Saturn isn't bad. Saturn is consequential. That's a word I always use.
Consequential. I like that.
Saturn is the planet of cause and effect. He rewards hard work, discipline, and integrity with tangible, long-lasting results. But he punishes negligence, corner-cutting, and laziness with harsh reality checks.
So there's nowhere to hide.
Absolutely nowhere. When Saturn moves into Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, the sign of the pioneer, the warrior, and sits in your career house, it is signaling the start of a massive life milestone.
This is the growing up moment. You keep using these big phrases.
Because it is. It is the ultimate adulting transit.
Yeah.
This isn't a one-week influence. Saturn stays in a sign for roughly 2.5 years. So this week is the opening ceremony of a 2-year chapter where you are being asked to establish your authority, to become the expert.
So here is the conflict I'm seeing laid bare. On Tuesday, Venus says, run away, be free, explore, learn something new.
Yes, sir.
On Saturday, Saturn says, you are now the boss, you're in charge, get to work, and don't mess up. How on earth does a person reconcile those two voices in their head? It sounds like madness.
That is the million-dollar question for this week and for the next 2 years. It's a clash between the desire for escapism and the demand for responsibility.
Which is particularly hard for Cancer.
I think so, yes. It's particularly poignant. Cancers feel things so deeply. The temptation to just run away from the pressure, which is that Venus transit, will be extremely high. But the opportunity to build a real, lasting legacy, which is Saturn, is right there for the taking.
So it's not necessarily about choosing one or the other, but perhaps integrating them. Is that even possible?
It is, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe the adventure is the career move.
Ah, I see.
Maybe the new territory you are exploring isn't a country, but a new level of leadership, or a new business you're starting. But make no mistake, Saturn will win the argument if you try to ignore him. You can't just run away. You have to step up.
Okay. Let's dig into what stepping up actually looks like, because that can feel very abstract. We've titled this next part of our discussion the Saturn analysis. The notes here mention a level up moment. But in a practical day-to-day sense, what does Saturn in Aries look like in the workplace for a Cancer?
It looks like exposure. The 10th house is the most visible part of the chart. It's the very top of the wheel. It's midday, when the sun is highest. You can't hide in the 10th house.
There are no shadows.
None. So Saturn in Aries is putting a spotlight directly on your competence, or your lack thereof. It's about moving from being a team player to being the team leader, from being an employee to being the authority.
That sounds utterly terrifying for someone who might prefer to work behind the scenes, which, let's be honest, many Cancers do. They like to nurture the project from the background.
It can be. It absolutely can be. It brings up all the classic hits: imposter syndrome, fear of failure, the feeling of who am I to be in charge.
Right, I'm not ready for this.
But Saturn in Aries demands courage. Aries is the warrior. Saturn is the structure. So you are building the structure of a warrior. You are being asked to fight for your position, to assert your expertise, to own your ambition.
And there's a very specific warning here in the data about slacking off.
Yes. This is the no slacking rule. I cannot emphasize this enough. Saturn has zero sense of humor about laziness. Zero. If you have been cutting corners, or if you've been relying on your charm rather than your actual competence, this transit will expose that.
So the charm runs out.
The charm is irrelevant to Saturn. It's like when the teacher leaves the room and everyone creates chaos, but Saturn is the moment the principal walks in, unannounced.
Silence falls. Everybody looks at their desk.
Exactly. Everyone straightens their tie. If you've been doing your work diligently, you have nothing to fear. In fact, if you've been working hard in the shadows, this is the week you finally get recognized for it. A promotion, a raise, an award.
But if you haven't,
You will be corrected.
corrected. That is such a chilling clinical word in this context. It sounds like a red pen on a failed test.
It's a realignment. Saturn aligns us with our destiny, sometimes forcefully. It course corrects us. If you're on the wrong career path, this is when you'll know.
Okay. We also have the moon in Capricorn on February 12th. That's a Thursday, right in the middle of the week. Now, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Does that intensify this energy? Is that like the principal bringing the superintendent with him?
Significantly. That's a great analogy. The moon acts as a transfer events. When the moon is in Capricorn, it opposes the Cancer sun. So it highlights that core axis of home versus career, private life versus public life.
The very theme we're talking about.
The exact theme. With the moon moving through the sector of partnerships and contracts, which is typically the 7th house for Cancer, we are looking at a very high potential for binding agreements.
So midweek, Thursday or so, you might be looking at an actual physical contract.
Yes, a job offer, a business partnership agreement, a mortgage, a lease. And because it's Saturn Capricorn energy, this isn't a napkin sketch. This is the fine print. This is legally binding.
So read everything.
Read everything twice. The advice here is to treat every single interaction midweek as if it's being recorded for the official record. Be impeccable with your word. Don't make promises you can't keep.
So show up on time. Actually, show up 5 minutes early. Dress the part. Don't call in sick unless you are actually on your deathbed.
And even then, send a very professional email from the hospital. Perception is reality under this transit. You are building your reputation for the next 2.5 years, starting now.
Okay, so we're working hard. We're terrified of the principal. We're showing up in our best suits. Let's talk about the payoff. Surely all this work leads to a big fat check, right? Let's look at the financial outlook.
Well, yes and no. And I know that's not what people want to hear.
I knew there was a catch. There's always a catch with Saturn.
It's not a catch. It's a delay, a strategic delay. We have to understand the nature of Saturnian wealth versus, say, Venusian or Jupiterian wealth.
Okay, explain that.
Venus brings luck. You find 20 bucks in your pocket. Jupiter brings expansion, a surprise bonus. Saturn brings equity, building a house from the foundation up that appreciates in value over 30 years.
Got it. Sweat equity.
Exactly. The astrological indicators show that Saturn can initially restrict cash flow.
Restrict cash flow? That sounds like a liquidity crisis. That sounds terrifying.
It can feel like a tightening of the belt.
Yeah.
But we have to ask why. Usually, under this transit, the restriction comes because the resources are being diverted into investment. You aren't spending money, you are allocating it towards your future.
So it's not that you're broke, it's that your money is tied up in something that's going to pay off later.
Precisely. And looking at the combination of that Venus in the 9th house, the house of higher learning, and Saturn in the 10th house, the house of career, the absolute best asset class for Cancer to invest in right now is themselves.
It's all connecting.
The chart is screaming. Invest in education. Invest in a professional certification. Pay for a coach. Buy the software you need to level up your skills.
That makes perfect sense. If you're trying to become the boss, which is Saturn's demand, you might need the MBA or the specialized license, the 9th house piece, to justify that promotion.
Right. So if you look at your bank account this week and see a large sum going out for tuition or a training course, don't view that as a loss. That is a seed. That is the definition of the delayed gratification.
There's also a psychological component here regarding worth. It's not just about the money, is it? We have the Sun sextile Chiron on February 12th. Chiron is the wounded healer. How does that play into our bank account?
It's deeply connected. Chiron represents our deepest, often subconscious, insecurities. For Cancer, a sign that lives to nurture and give to others, there's often a deep wound around receiving.
I don't deserve it.
Exactly. Do I deserve to be paid this much? Is it greedy to ask for more? I should just do it for free because I care about the project.
The classic martyr complex that can keep people, especially nurturing types, underpaid.
Exactly. But the Sun sextile Chiron is a healing aspect.
Yeah.
A sextile offers an opportunity. It illuminates the wound so it can be treated. This week, specifically around the 12th, you might find yourself in a salary negotiation or setting your rates for a project.
And the old voice will pop up.
That old voice will say, just take whatever they offer. Don't make a fuss. But the new Saturn energy, this new authority you're building, says, no, I have value. This is what my time and expertise are worth.
So the advice is to stand firm, to ask for what you're worth, even if it feels uncomfortable.
Absolutely. The correction Saturn brings isn't just about punishment from the outside. It's about correcting your own undervaluation of yourself. If you were doing the work of a master, you charge the price of a master. It's a psychological healing of your relationship with money and self-worth.
I love that. It's not just about the numbers, it's about the self-respect that dictates the numbers. Okay, let's pivot. We've been very serious. Career, money, legacy, heavy Saturn energy. But humans need connection.
We do.
Let's talk about love and romance. We've titled this section The Journey, which feels very appropriate.
And for good reason. Remember, we still have that beautiful, optimistic Venus in the ninth house, lighting things up.
Okay.
Love, this week, is inextricably linked to the concept of the foreign, or the new, or the adventure.
So for our single Cancers, they should be looking for what? The tourist with the backpack. The philosophy professor with the tweed jacket.
The outlier.
Hmm.
Whoever it is, they're not the usual type. If you have a type, throw it out the window this week. You are likely to be attracted to someone who represents a world you don't know.
Interesting.
Could be someone from a different culture, a different country, a different educational background, or just someone who challenges your intellect. Venus in the ninth wants a guide, a teacher, not just a lover.
A meeting of the minds.
Very much so. The conversation is the foreplay this week.
And for the coupled Cancers, what if you're already settled?
Plan the escape.
Mm.
Even if you can't physically leave because of all this Saturn at work stuff, the act of planning a future trip channels this energy beautifully. Sit down with your partner, open a map or a web browser and say, where are we going next year?
So it's about the shared dream.
It bonds you through a shared vision of the future. It reminds you that you're on a journey together, not just co-managing a household.
Now, there's a really nice aspect mentioned here that should make things feel a bit softer. Venus is in Pisces.
Yes, this is a huge saving grace for Cancers this week. Venus is exalted in Pisces. It's her favorite place to be. She's at her most magical, her most compassionate. And Pisces forms a trine, a harmonious 120-degree angle to Cancer. This is water trining water.
Talk to us about the water trine. What does that feel like emotionally for someone who's not an astrologer?
It feels like telepathy. It feels like coming home after a terrible day. Water signs communicate through flow, feeling, and intuition. It's nonverbal.
So you don't have to explain everything.
You don't. When Venus is in Pisces, she is offering unconditional love, empathy, a soft place to land. For a Cancer who is battling dragons in the career sector all day, coming home to this energy is vital. It's a sanctuary. You don't have to explain to your partner why you're tired and stressed. They just feel it and hand you a cup of tea or run you a bath.
That sounds absolutely idyllic, the perfect antidote to the Saturn pressure. But I see a red flag on the chart for the weekend, February 15th. Venus square Lilith.
Ah, yes. Lilith. The wild card.
Who is Lilith? Tell us more about this energy.
In mythology, Lilith was Adam's first wife who refused to lie beneath him. She chose exile over submission. So in astrology, she represents the wild, untamed, rebellious feminine energy. She refuses to be domesticated or controlled.
And a square is a conflict, right? A point of friction.
A square is tension. It forces a choice. So we have Venus representing relationship, harmony, and togetherness, squaring Lilith representing fierce independence, freedom, and rebellion. This suggests a moment where the relationship feels like a cage.
The trapped feeling, even in a good relationship.
Especially in a good relationship. That's what's so tricky. You might be having a lovely, safe, comfortable time, and suddenly Lilith rears up and says, I am bored, I am suffocating, I need to run into the woods and scream.
Wow. So you have the beautiful safety of the water trine, but then this sudden, almost violent urge to burn it down.
Or at least to shake the bars of the cage a little. The advice here is crucial for anyone listening. Do not let fear of the unknown stop you from expressing this need for freedom, but also don't destroy something good just because you're feeling restless.
That's a fine line to walk. How do you navigate that?
You allow a little bit of wildness into the dynamic. Don't try to repress the Lilith energy in yourself or your partner. If you or your partner need space, give it immediately. No questions asked. If you need to do something crazy or unconventional for a day, do it.
Like taking a spontaneous solo day trip.
Exactly. Trust that if the relationship has a solid Saturnian foundation, it can handle a little Lilith storm. In fact, it'll probably make it stronger.
Let it breathe. Don't grip too tight.
Precisely. Control is the enemy of Lilith, and trying to control things this weekend will backfire spectacularly.
Let's move to the physical vessel. We've talked about the mind and the heart, but what about the body? Section 5, Health and Wellness. This is what we call the somatic analysis, and the notes here are shockingly literal about Saturn.
Astrology is often incredibly literal. It's something people don't always realize. We talked about Saturn being heavy, being a burden, the weight of responsibility. Well, where do you carry a burden?
On your back, on your shoulders.
On your back.
Yeah.
Your shoulders. Exactly. Saturn rules the skeletal system, the bones, the teeth, the knees, the joints. It is the very structure that holds us up against the force of gravity.
I see where this is going.
When Saturn transits your career sector, that psychological pressure of responsibility often manifests as physical compression in the spine.
So back pain, stiff necks, knee problems, maybe even clenching your jaw at night.
All of it. You might find yourself physically slouching under the weight of expectation. The body is mirroring the planetary geometry. Your posture might suffer. You might feel older than you are this week.
So the advice isn't just take an aspirin, it's structural.
It has to be structural. This is the week to finally check your ergonomics. If you're going to be working these long hours, is your chair supporting your lumbar spine? Is your computer screen at eye level? Are you taking breaks to stand up and stretch your hamstrings? You need to actively fight the compression. Yoga, Pilates, stretching, all are fantastic.
Now, on the flip side of that dry, compressive energy, we have the element of water. Cancer is a water sign. Monday, February 9th, we have a last quarter moon in Scorpio.
Another water sign, and a deep one at that. The last quarter moon is a phase of release, of letting go, of composting what we don't need before the next cycle begins. And Scorpio is the sign of deep emotional detox.
Purgation. The notes for the section literally say, cry if you need to.
I would amend that. I would say cry even if you don't think you need to.
Really? Just schedule a good cry.
Yes, I'm serious. For a Cancer, holding in emotion is toxic. It's like holding in a sneeze. It just damages the system. You have this dry, heavy, cold Saturn energy coming in later in the week.
Yeah.
To counterbalance that, you need fluidity. You need to keep your emotional waters moving. Don't let them stagnate.
And literal water therapy is recommended here as well.
Absolutely. Swimming is fantastic because it makes you weightless. It literally counters the gravity of Saturn. Long baths with Epsom salts to soothe the muscles, hot showers where you visualize the stress washing away. Anything that immerses you in your home element. You need to hydrate your spirit or Saturn will dry you out and make you brittle.
Balance is key to survival. That's the line here. It sounds dramatic, but after everything we've discussed, it feels true.
It is survival of the self. You can achieve great things this week. You can lay the foundation for a legacy, but not if you burn out the engine on day 3. You have to eat properly, you have to sleep, and you have to wash away the stress. It's non-negotiable.
Okay, that's a very clear directive. Let's talk about the other people in the lifeboat with us. Section 6. Relationship dynamics. Who is our ally and who is our headache this week?
It's a study in elemental compatibility, really. We have a very clear winner for the best match, the person you want to have on speed dial.
And that is Scorpio, the soul connection.
We've mentioned the Scorpio energy already with the moon phase. It's deep, it's intense. But for a Cancer, it's safe. Scorpio is one of the only signs that can really handle the full depth of Cancer's emotion without getting overwhelmed or judgmental.
The notes say Scorpio offers a safe space to vent.
Think about the week you're having. You're putting on this brave, professional face for the boss, for Saturn. You're trying to be the authority figure. You need a place where you can take off the mask and say, I am terrified, or I hate this, or I think I'm going to fail.
And Scorpio won't try to fix it.
Scorpio won't say, oh, don't be silly. They won't judge that darkness. They thrive in it. They understand psychological depth. They will listen, they will keep your secret, and they will help you regenerate. They offer a private sanctuary in a very public week.
So find your Scorpio friend and buy them a coffee. Or a glass of wine.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side of the coin, the danger zone.
Who are we avoiding? Who's going to push our buttons?
Aries.
Oh, boy. And this links back to Saturn, doesn't it? It has to.
It links directly. Saturn is entering Aries. That means the Aries people in your life, your Aries boss, your Aries partner, your Aries parent, are undergoing a massive pressure test themselves. They are feeling the weight of the world just as much as you are, if not more.
But Aries reacts to pressure very differently than Cancer.
Drastically differently. Cancer retreats into the shell to process. Aries puts on the helmet and rams the door down. Under the influence of Saturn, Aries can become domineering, impatient, blunt, and hyper-focused on results above all else.
Blunt force is the phrase used here.
Yes. And Cancer is sensitive, ruled by the moon. If an Aries colleague comes up to you and barks, "Where's the report? It's late," without a hello or how are you, that's going to hurt. It's going to feel like a personal attack.
But they might not mean it as an attack, they're just stressed.
They probably don't. They're just trying to survive their own Saturn transit too. But the clash of styles, water versus fire, motion versus action, is incredibly volatile this week.
So the strategy is avoidance. What if your boss is in Aries? You can't avoid them.
The strategy is de-escalation. and strategic retreat. Do not try to fight an Aries head-on this week. They have the general Saturn in their camp. You will not win a shouting match.
So what do you do?
You give them what they want, which is results. Be efficient. Be direct. Don't bring your feelings to the meeting. Just step aside, let them charge past, and focus on your own work. Protect your peace.
Smart. Pick your battles, and this is not one of them. Okay, let's get into the granular details. The Cosmic Toolkit. We love a good lucky number and a power color.
We do. The dates to watch are February 9th and 10th. That's Monday and Tuesday. That's the beginning of the week. That's when the energy is still fluid with that Scorpio moon, before the heavy Saturn ingress. Use those days for the creative stuff, the brainstorming, the emotional release we talked about.
And the numbers are 4, 8, 17, 26, 35, 48.
The number 8 is flashing like a neon sign for me in that list.
Why the 8 specifically?
In numerology, 8 is the number of Saturn. It's the number of material manifestation, of power, of karma, of authority. Look at the shape of the 8. It's the infinity symbol standing up. What goes up must come down. What goes around comes around.
Cause effect.
The exact theme of Saturn. Seeing the 8 here just confirms that the theme of the week is consequence and power. It's a boss number.
It really is. And finally, we have a specific color recommendation, navy blue. Hex code, hashtag 000000080 for our design-minded listeners.
I adore this specific choice. Notice it's not sky blue, it's not turquoise, it's not a placeholder blue, it's navy.
Uniform, official.
It is. It's the color of the police officer, the pilot, the admiral, the CEO's power suit. It represents authority, depth, stability, and professionalism.
It's not a color you wear to play, it's a color you wear to lead.
Exactly. Color magic is a subtle but powerful way to program your subconscious. If you wear navy blue to that important meeting on Thursday, you are signaling to yourself and to everyone else in the room, I am in charge, I am grounded, I am an authority. It aligns your personal frequency with the Saturnian energy you need to harness.
So, ditch the pastels this week? Go for the power suit, or at least a navy sweater.
Precisely. Dress for the job you're claiming.
We have covered a massive amount of ground here. I mean, from the itch to travel to the pressure of the boardroom, from back pain to water therapy.
It's a comprehensive week. There's a lot going on.
If we look at the narrative arc, the story of this week, it really does seem to be a story of growing up.
Yeah.
And fast forward.
It is. It starts with the emotional release of that last quarter moon on Monday. It moves into the inspiration and the dream of expansion with Venus midweek. And it culminates in the tangible commitment and responsibility of Saturn at the end of the week.
I want to circle back to something you said much earlier about legacy, because Saturn is about the long game, not just this week.
That's the most important takeaway from all of this. We get so caught up in the stress of the now, the deadline, the bills, the difficult colleague, but Saturn asks us to lift our heads and look at the horizon.
You have a question for our listeners to mull over, to really think about.
I do. And I want every Cancer to really sit with this, maybe journal on it. If Saturn is asking you to build a legacy starting this week, what is the one thing you are ready to commit to for the next 2 years?
Not what you want to do for a weekend or a month.
No. What are you ready to build? What structure do you want to be standing in your life in February 2028? Because the bricklaying starts on Saturday.
That is heavy, but it's also incredibly empowering because 2 years is going to pass anyway. You might as well have a castle at the end of it.
Exactly. And my add-on to that is, can you allow yourself to enjoy the adventure of building it? Can you let that Venus in the 9th house energy make the journey interesting, make the learning process fun, so it's not just drudgery?
Ambition meets adventure. The sweet spot right in the middle.
That's the magic. That's the integration.
Wow. I feel like I need to go straighten my posture and buy a planner.
Good. Saturn approves of that message.
Thank you so much for breaking all of this down. It feels like we have a roadmap for what could be a very intense but rewarding storm.
It was my pleasure. It's a significant time. Trust your shell, but don't be afraid to carry a little weight on it. You've got this, Cancer.
And thank you to everyone for tuning into this analysis on Horoscope TV. We know the stars can be complicated, but we are here every week to help you navigate them. If you want to make sure you don't miss the next update, and trust me, with these transits, you'll want to know what happens next, please make sure to subscribe so you get notified when the next episode is available. Until then, keep looking up.
Goodbye, everyone.